Hi, everybody. Welcome in. How are you? It is good to see everybody. I am happy that you have allowed me to be a part of your Wednesday afternoon. Guys, I've got a really fun class for you. I do need to switch. Let's see. How do I get off of gallery? Hold on. Give me just a second. I've got this, Lindsay. I have it so that I'm seeing everybody. How do I make myself just
in the corner, if you click view, you go to speaker view instead of gallery view.
Then I see you. I'm sorry. Okay. Okay. I'm still just seeing you. Sorry about that. All right, so let's try this again. Hi, welcome in. My name is Sarah, and I am a designer with Beadalon, and have a really fun class for you guys here at Michael's. I'm gonna get you steady there so you're not getting seasick on me. Okay, so let's start over again. I do have a really fun class for you guys. I think this is a really important class for those of you who might be looking to make some last minute gifts. I know that it is just the very beginning of December, but you know how the holidays tend to sneak up on you, right? So I think that being able to kind of stretch your bead budget to get the most bang for your buck is really important. And I think this is a great class for that, not only just for the holiday season, but for if you are doing a craft booth or if you are putting together a website, maybe that's what your goal is for the new year. This is going to be a really great class to show you how you can take a few beads and really get the most out of those few beads. So we're doing 5 different earring styles, and the focus of all 5 of those earring styles is one set of beads. I am going to use some other beads as kind of, as some filler and to add just a little bit of extra sparkle, but we're focusing just on one strand of beads and seeing how far we can take this with 5 different pairs of earrings. And that's great if you've got to do gift giving. Like I said, if you've got crunch time and you're trying to put together some last minute gifts, this is a great one for that if you want everybody to have something similar. Or if you're doing jewelry for maybe a wedding party and everybody wants the jewelry to match, but maybe not the exact same style. Everybody kind of has their own personality. So you can really kind of take what you learn from this class and apply it in lots of different scenarios, not just for the holidays. All right, so I'm going to get you guys turned around and we're going to look at the beads. We're going to look at the materials because it doesn't take a whole lot. And we're going to put together 5 pairs of earrings. It's going to go pretty quickly. I think you'll see just how quickly you can put together some great pairs of earrings. These are beginner friendly projects for the most part. Not a whole lot of wire work to them. This is the beads, or these are the beads rather, that we're going to be focusing on. These blue drops. Now, I got to tell you, these bead landing drops come in a couple of different colors. You can grab whatever your favorite color is from Michael's. I loved the blue. I thought the blue was just kind of a classic color that you can use whether it's the holidays or not, right? So these earrings are definitely going to have longevity. They're going to have a really good shelf life because you can wear them all year. All right, so those are the beads that we're going to focus on. And you can see it's not, there's, 1, 2, 3, 4, let's see. 1, 2, I think there's 5 on each strand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, so you've got 10 of these, right? That's the perfect amount to make 5 pairs of earrings. So we're going to use every single one of these beads. And then for my extra beads, just for some sparkle, if you've had classes with me before, you know how I feel about these cards from Bead Landing that have the different sizes. I love these, and they come in a variety of colors. You can never have too much sparkle, but they come in 4 different sizes of these glass rondelles, and they really stretch out in your designs because you might only use 2 or 3 of these for a design. Maybe you'll use a whole strand, but you've still got 3 other strands left. I really find that this is a really cost-effective way to buy beads. So if you're looking to stock up, I definitely suggest grabbing some of these just because they have so many beads on them. And then last but not least are just some clear glass beads. And I have some rondelles as well as some bicone shapes. And again, these come on the cards. It's not one of those 4 different strands, but again, really cost effective. Clear beads in particular are one of those things that I consider a staple, a bead that you definitely want to have at all times, you know, because you never know when you're just going to need a little bit of clear to go. It definitely goes with everything. All right, so as far as wire is concerned, I'm going to be using German style wire, and let's see, I have 22 gauge and I've got some 24 gauge pulled for our projects, and we're not going to be using a whole lot. I didn't want to show you this packaging necessarily, but this is the way that I get my wire. But when you're shopping for it at Michael's, you're going to be looking for these blister packs like this. This one was empty. That's the 24 gauge. This is how the German style wire comes. I prefer the German style wire over the artistic wire just because it has a little bit more structure and is really good for wire wrapping. So that's the kind of wire we're going to be using. All right, so as far as tools, you just need your standard tools, but I'm going to show you how to do a knotted head pin. So you need to have your nylon jaw pliers handy because you can't make a knotted head pin without them. You're also going to need a cutter tool. Okay, all right, let's get started. So we're going to start at the easiest and kind of work our way up, but I got to tell you, all 5 pairs of these are fairly easy to put together. So for this pair, we're going to get one of those beautiful drops, and then we're using 2 bicones to put together a very short little beaded chain. Right, we're going to do a knotted head pin. You can just use a regular head pin if you want to, though I do love a knotted head pin and it's a great technique to learn. So we're going to put these together, super, super simple. You just need 2 bicones. You're going to need your drop bead from your card of the beads. And something I wanted to mention is that these drops come on a head pin already, and they have a bead cap. It's up to you whether you want to leave that on there, the bead cap. I'm going to take it off for some of the projects, and for one of the projects, I'm going to leave it on there. So totally up to you to decide how you want to do this, but the metal here is hematite, and I'm using silver color. So that's why I took it off. All right, so you're going to need 2 eye pins, and we're going to make ourselves a head pin. So let's get started with that. You're going to need about 4 inches of 22 gauge wire to create a knot. And you're going to need your round nose pliers. Sit this over here to the side so we can really focus on this, okay? So I'm going to grab that 22 gauge wire right at the tip of the wire and at the tip of my round nose pliers. Okay, so the tip of both of these. I'm going to take that wire and I'm going to create a coil or wrap around the tip of those pliers 1 time all the way around. And then I'm going to go a second time all the way around. And I'm going to stop where I see the cut in the wire so that you know that you've made it around 2 complete times. Now, before you take this off of the tool, you want to bend this wire underneath the 2 coils that you made. So you're going to bend it this direction. I like to do that bend before I take it off of the tool so that I don't accidentally bend that wire in the wrong direction. A lot of times it seems like the direction to bend this would be the opposite direction, right? Running away from the coils, but you actually want it to go underneath the coils that you've created. So it's a good idea to go ahead and make that bend so that it's going away from your hand and away from the tool. It's just a good reminder. Okay, so we're going to take this off of the pliers, and we are going to take the wire, the tail end of this wire, and we're going to bend it backwards. We're coming back towards those 2 coils. We're going to stick the end right through. Okay, so you've made what looks like a little bit like a little lasso. Okay, now you want to come in with your nylon jaw pliers. Super important. Do not do this with regular pliers. You have to have nylon jaw pliers for this. You want to grab that wire right where those 2 coils are. You want those to be sitting right up against the side of those pliers. Okay, don't let there be any extra room in there. Then you want to come in with another pair of pliers. I like to use my bent chain nose pliers for this, but you can use just your regular chain nose pliers. And we're going to pull that wire through those 2 coils. And when we do that, that creates a knot at the end of our wire, and it's centered up so that we have ourselves a head pin ready for our bead. Now, why is this important? Why don't you just want a regular pre-made head pin? Well, there's absolutely nothing wrong with having a pre-made head pin for your projects, but sometimes when you are working with wire and you're using maybe a gold colored wire or a rose gold colored wire, sometimes it's hard to match the findings. I find that with gold in particular, the gold comes in a lot of different warmths, I guess you would say. Some of them are more yellow than others. Some are a little bit of a cooler tone yellow, and they don't always match the wire that you're using. So having this technique in your skill set is a great addition, because you can make your own findings and they're always going to match the wire that you're using in the rest of your piece. All right, so now that we have ourselves a little head pin, we're going to take our teardrop bead and we're going to drop that down, and you can see it's going to sit nicely right on top of the knot that we created with our wire. Okay, now we're going to create a wrapped loop at the top. So I'm going to grab that wire right where it is exiting the bead with my chain nose pliers. I'm going to bend the wire over the top of the pliers. Okay, that's super important. When I take the chain nose pliers away, you can see there's a little bit of space here between the top of the bead and the bend of the wire. That's a pre-measurement for the wire wraps that we're going to make. So I don't have to measure ahead of time. I don't have to get the ruler out or anything like that. I let the tool do all the work for me. So now when I come in with my round nose pliers, I can place it right in there, just like that. I'm going to take the wire up and over the top barrel of the pliers. Okay. Now I need to make that a full loop. I can't do that with this bottom barrel in the way. So all I'm going to do is just rotate. I'm going to turn that bottom barrel and turn it up here to the right or to the top. So it's now the top barrel. And then I can guide the wire over to close up the loop, right? And now we have that room in between there where we can do our wire wraps, right? So I didn't have to measure. It's already done for me. Thank you to the chain nose pliers. All right, now I'm going to come in with my cutter tool rather, and I'm going to trim off this excess wire and sit it to the side, because you can always use these little wire scraps for other things, right? If you need another knotted head pin, you've got some wire for that. If you need to come in with your chain nose pliers to tuck in where you cut your wire, you can do that as well, just to kind of clean it up. But this bead is ready to go on to the next step. Okay. All right. So the next step is we're going to use eye pins for this. I do make my own eye pins now and then, but sometimes I just grab ones that are pre-made, and that just kind of saves time. Again, if you're having trouble matching your wire and your findings, though, you definitely can do the same thing. Instead of making a knotted head pin, just make your own eye pin. But I'm going to take that eye pin and I'm going to use my chain nose pliers to open that loop. Now, notice I'm twisting that open instead of pulling it apart. You just want to kind of walk it open. And then you want to thread on to the loop that we just made on our teardrop shaped bead and close that back. Okay. Now we're ready to add another bead. So we're going to thread on our bicone, and you can make a decision here. It's totally up to you. I want mine to be uniform. So since there is a simple loop at the bottom, I'm going to do a simple loop at the top. However, if you want to do a wrapped loop here instead of a simple loop, you absolutely can. We're going to keep it consistent though, and we're just going to do a simple loop. So this is a little bit different than the wrapped loop, meaning when we use our pliers, I'm just using those pliers to bend the wire over the top of the bead. So I'm not bending over the top of the pliers. I don't need that extra room because I'm not doing any of the wire wraps. All I'm doing is just a simple loop. So now I'm going to come in with my cutter tool and I'm going to trim off. And I want to leave myself about 1/4 of an inch of wire, just enough to make a loop. We don't need all the extra for wraps or anything like that. Then we're going to come in with our round nose pliers. We're going to grab the tip of that wire and we're going to roll back towards our hand and towards our bead to close up our loop. Now, I will be the first to admit that my simple loops are not perfect. They are very often a little bit bigger than the ones that are on the eye pins. Sometimes they look more like a teardrop shape or a funny little lopsided loop than a perfect loop. But I always tell my students, it's okay. Don't sweat the small stuff, because once you put this earring together, nobody's going to notice the shapes of your loops, right? All they're going to be seeing is the sparkle in the earrings. So you don't have to worry about those little things like that. Don't let those little things get to you. So again, I'm going to take another eye pin. Now at this point, if this is a long enough earring for you, you can just add the ear wire and call it done. But I do like to add a little extra sparkle because I'm extra with everything. I'm going to open another eye pin. I'm going to thread that one on to the top loop, close that back. And then I'm going to thread on another bicone. Okay. And we're going to do the same thing here. We're just going to take the wire, we're going to bend it over the top of the bead. We're going to come in with our cutter and we're going to trim off and leave ourselves about 1/4 of an inch of wire. And then come in with the round nose pliers to roll back to finish off our loop. And then we're ready to add our ear wire. So I'm using these lever back. Everybody says it a little bit differently, but I really find that for me, customers really prefer this shape of ear wire. It seems to be the most comfortable, but you use whatever kind of ear wire you like. I'm just going to thread that on to the top loop and we're done. So we've got 1 out of our 5. We've only got, or we have 4 more to go. Pairs, but that was relatively quick, right? You can make the mate to this earring really, really quickly once you get the steps for the first one down. Then making its mate will only take you a few minutes, and it only took a little bit of hardware for this, just a couple of eye pins and a little bit of wire, and you've got a beautiful pair of earrings that I don't think anybody would be mad to get as a gift this holiday season. All right, so I'm going to sit these to the side. We'll show off all of these when we get to the ends here, but we're going to take this a little bit further. So we're going to step up our design a little bit. We're going to do another knotted head pin. Let me show you where we're going. So it's basically the same thing. We're going to start with a knotted head pin, but we're using a little bit more wire. And we're going to use some rondelles to stack those up. And we're going to do some fancy wire wrapping around here. Now, it's not anything hard. It's very simple wire wrapping, but it is a really cool kind of addition to this earring. Can you leave those wraps off? You absolutely can. And just do this with the straight beads if you want to. But if you want to be extra, I'll show you how to do that. So we're going to take an 8-inch piece of 22 gauge wire. So I've doubled the length here. And we're going to do a knotted head pin on the end of this. So again, coming in with the round nose pliers, tip of the pliers, tip of the wire. We're going to roll the wire around the tip of the pliers 1 time all the way around. And then we're going to go a 2nd time all the way around. And you want to stop where you see the cut in the wire so you know you've made it around twice. Okay. Now we're going to bend the wire out this direction. Again, I like to make that bend before I take this off of the tool. Okay, I'm going to take it off of the round nose pliers and I'm going to take the tail end of that wire and stick it through the coil, pull it a little bit shorter. Now we've got our little lasso. And again, I'm going to come in with our nylon jaw pliers. Okay, hold on to that wire and then pull. And you're going to pull a knot right into the end of your wire and then kind of smooth your wire out. Okay. All right. Now we're just going to stack some beads on this, and you can stack any beads. You don't have to use the exact beads that I'm using if you don't want to, but I'm going to put one of our teardrops, right? And then I'm going to do 4 of these glass rondelles. Okay. All right. Now we're going to do a knotted head. I'm sorry. We already did the knotted head pin. We're going to do a wrapped loop at the top here, but notice we've got a lot of wire left over. We don't want to trim that off because we're going to use that to wrap back around the body of our earring. So I'm going to come in with my chain nose pliers and we're going to bend over the top of the wire again, because we need the room for the wrap. So we're not doing a simple loop. We're doing a wrapped loop. I'm going to come in with my round nose pliers and I'm going to take that wire up and over the top barrel of the pliers. We got to rotate to get that bottom barrel out of the way, make it the top barrel so you can take your wire over to close up your loop. All right, now we're going to switch hands and we're going to wire wrap. Now don't cut off your wire here, okay? So You're going to take your wire, and you can do this while it's still on the pliers, or you can do it, you can take it off if you want to. But I'm going to guide the wire across the surface of that first bead, right? Kind of at a diagonal, wrap all the way around. I'm going to do the same thing to the next bead, kind of like the spirals or the stripes on a candy cane, right? And all the way around. And then I'm going to do the exact same thing on my teardrop bead, but now I need to take it off of the tool to do that. So I'm just going to guide that wire down the surface of our teardrop bead. And then I'm going to wrap this around our knotted head pin down here at the bottom. And then I'm just going to trim it off. Make sure you wrap around at least once all the way around so that you've got it nice and secure and it's not going to come off. And then you just want to trim off any leftover wire. So we used almost every bit of that 8-inch piece of wire. So make sure that you give yourself plenty of wire to do this with. Okay. So now all you got to do is just add your ear wire to it. We're just going to open that up, attach that to our wrapped loop. And we've got a second pair of earrings ready to go. You can make the mate fairly quickly. And we are 2 out of 5 so far. So you can see how we can put together some last minute gifts if we need to, right? Doesn't have to take us a whole lot of time. I always tell everybody, beautiful jewelry does not have to be hard. It doesn't have to be a representation of every skill you've ever learned. And it doesn't have to take a lot of time or materials. All right, now we're going to do a little extra wire wrapping this time. So we're going to take those same teardrops, and this time we're going to keep the earring pretty simple. It's just the teardrop, but we're going to wrap around the top of it, right? To give it its own little wire wrapped bead cap. We are going to do a knotted head pin with this, but we're going to do it with a smaller gauge wire because I want to show you, you absolutely can make your knotted head pins with any gauge wire. So we were using 22 gauge wire. Now we have gone down to the 24 gauge wire. Okay. So we're going to take about 12 inches of 24 gauge wire. And we're going to make our knotted head pin at the end. Now with the 24 gauge, because it's a smaller gauge, it is going to create a smaller knot. And you do have to be a little bit careful just because it is a thinner gauged wire. You don't want to pull on it too much because you might pull the knot loose. You definitely want to be a little bit more careful when you're using some thinner gauged wire, but it still makes a great knotted head pin. So tip of the wire, tip of the pliers. Roll the wire around the tip of the pliers all the way around once, and then all the way around a second time. And you want to stop where you see the cut of the wire. Again, bend to the wire running underneath those coils. Take that off of the tool. And I'm going to take the tail end back through those 2 coils. I'm going to pull it down. I'm going to bring in my nylon jaw pliers to grab the wire. And with the 24 gauge wire, or if you're doing this with 26 gauge wire, you might even want to use your hands instead of your pliers to pull this wire, to pull that knot. Just have a little bit more control. Might be a little bit easier, and you might feel like you've got more control and you're not going to really pull too hard. So we've got our little knots. You can do the same thing with the 24 gauge wire. You just need to be extra careful. Okay, we're going to thread on our teardrop bead. Okay. Now we're going to do a wrapped loop at the top, but we have all of this excess wire, right? We've only used maybe 1.5 inches, 2 inches worth of wire when you consider how much wire it takes to make the knot and then what's covered up with our beads. So we've got plenty of wire left over. We're going to come in with our chain nose pliers and start our wrapped loop. So we're going to bend the wire over the top of the pliers. We're going to come in with the round nose pliers. We're going up and over, top barrel of the pliers. We need to rotate, take the wire over to the other side. And then we're going to wire wrap about 4 times here. Okay. Now, this is where you got to slow down a little bit. Okay. So if you've never done this before, this can be a little bit tricky. It's not hard. It just takes a little bit of patience, and it might take more than one try, even for me. Just so you know, I've done a ton of these, but sometimes it still gets the best of me. So you got to go slow, and you've really got to pay attention to where your wire is going. What we want to do is we want to start wrapping around the top of the bead, and we're kind of building out our wire in a spiral, right? So as I'm wrapping around, I'm not wrapping around the wire wraps that are already there. I'm kind of wrapping around that top surface of the bead and building it out to then bring it down over the surface of the bead. You got to go slow, and the wire is kind of springy. So if you've got to do it more than once, that's okay. Okay, so you're just going to wrap, right? And I kind of prefer a messy wrap with this because it's much easier to get a great messy wrap out of this than it is a nice clean wrap, but you just want to wrap around until you're happy with it. And then you can take the rest of the wire. Now I realize this one looks a little bit different than this one, right? You see how this one is more like cone shaped. This one got kind of chunky monkey on me. If I don't like that, or if you don't like it, that's okay. You can put it right back on the tool and you can unwind all of that wire. You just want to be careful. You don't want to do it too many times because this 24 gauge wire it'll get weak spots in it. You may have to start over with a new piece of wire, right? But it's all right. It's just wire, right? And it doesn't have to be 100% perfect. You got to give yourself a little grace with this, right? Because that wire does really want to do what it wants to do. But it will go down the top of that bead. You just kind of have to coax it, right? Wrap around until you've got about 1 inch, 2 inches left. Okay. Then if your wire is nice and tight and you want to leave it, you can just cut it off. But I like to make sure that mine is secure and it's not going to get caught in anything. So I'll take that wire up over the top of all the wire wraps and then wrap around at the top as well. That helps to make it more cone shaped, right? And again, I like it kind of messy. That's just me. If you want it to be more uniform, you're going to need to go a little bit slower. But that kind of keeps that end. Now, when I go to cut this off, that little piece, I can come in with my pliers and really kind of tuck it in. And I don't have to worry that it's going to get caught in anybody's hair. It's not going to get caught on my clothing. And it's not going to unwrap the entire thing and make a mess out of my earring, right? Then the only thing you want to do to the top of this is just add your ear wire to it. Now you can see this one's more uniform. This one is more chunky monkey. Do I want them to match? I do want them to match, but you do have two really good examples here. So would I put these two together? Not necessarily. I probably want to, make them match a little bit, but the technique is the same. It's all just about how slow you do your wrapping and kind of being patient with wrapping your wire. We're going to do it again, so you'll get to see it another time, right? So we've got one that's really clean and one that's messy, and I think they're both appropriate. So, all right, so we've got another pair of earrings. That's 3. We've got 2 more pairs to go. Okay. So this one includes, our next earring includes a pre-made component. I love pre-made components. They make life so easy. So we're using a hoop earring component that you can grab at Michael's. You can get a package of a few of these. Okay. We're just going to fill it up with some of those beautiful glass bicones. And we're going to do another one of these wrapped beads. So you'll get the opportunity to see us do that again. Okay. So we're going to start with the same steps that we just started with. We're going to need another of the teardrop beads and another 12-inch piece of the 24 gauge wire. And we're going to start out with a knotted head pin. So tip of the wire, tip of the pliers, roll around the tip of the pliers once, and then directly underneath that one a second time. And then you're going to stop where you see the cut in the wire and bend the wire so that it's going away from your hand and away from the tool. Take it off of the pliers and then take your tail end of that wire and stick it back through, right? Bring that down a little bit. Okay, now nylon jaw pliers. Grab that so that those two coils are right up against the nylon jaw pliers, and then pull to pull that knot into the bottom of your wire. And if you want to, you can push that, make it flat, right? You can manipulate that wire. See how I just flattened that down with my pliers? The 24 gauge wire is very pliable, so you can really kind of make it do whatever you want, right? We're going to thread on a teardrop bead, and we're going to do another wire wrapped loop. So grabbing the wire, giving it a bend. We're coming in with our round nose pliers, going up and over. Whoops. Rotate, take the wire over to the other side, and we're going to wire wrap. All right, now here we are again. I'm gonna hold on to it this time. We're going to start wrapping that wire around the top of the bead. All right, going slow. Trying to make those wire wraps nice and neat. Whereas last time we made them kind of messy, right? You can see the little neck of the wire wraps loop that we started with. We're going to use that. We're going to take that wire. We're going to come diagonally across the surface of that wire. So I'm just kind of bending it up here. And then I'm just going to wrap it around the wire wraps that are already there, right? Use your pliers if you want to. Tuck that in, make it look how you want it to look, right? And depending on if you want to see that going across, that can be the front, or you can turn it back here to the back and have that on the back. It's totally up to you. I'm going to trim off the excess. Okay. And I kind of like it, so I'm going to leave mine on the front. But now this guy's ready to go. We're going to sit it to the side for just a second. We're going to put the rest of this together. So for our little pre-made hoop here, the hoops, they come together by sliding the end into these little grooves. You can see there's just a little spot there. So you just want to open that up, and that lets it let it be free so that you can thread on whatever beads you want. So I'm just going to thread on some of our bicone beads. Just be careful not to pull it apart too much as you're threading on your beads. You don't want to distort that nice hoop shape. So just be gentle. Okay, we're going to thread these on. Now you can thread on whatever kind of beads you want to. I love these pre-made components because you can do a lot of earrings really quickly. You can put all different kinds of beads on them, and they all have different personality, which is super cool. They make a great gift, particularly for those who like hoop earrings. I love a hoop earring. So, all right, now I have all my beads on. I'm going to just take that and stick it right back in there. Okay. So now that is ready to go. It's got a little loop here in the center where you can hang things. And that's where we're going to hang our bead that we just worked on. We're going to use a jump ring for that. So I've got a 6mm jump ring. I'm going to take 2 pairs of pliers, and I'm just going to twist to open our jump ring. I'm going to thread on our wire wrapped bead, and then I'm just going to attach that to that little hole that's in our component. And then I'm going to close the jump ring back. And that's it. These are super quick, super quick earrings, and they're so pretty. So pretty. Now the only step left is just to add the ear wire, right? Oops. Just want to use your pliers to close that back, and you're ready to go. Make the mate to that, and you've got some really beautiful earrings. I love these. These are really pretty. If you're looking for sparkle, this is the way to go for sure. If you've got somebody to give a gift to that loves sparkle and bling, hoop earrings are always a winner. All right, set those to the side. We've got one more pair of earrings to go. And these are just a little bit different. This is probably the hardest pair out of all 5. But again, this shouldn't be an intimidating project, even for those of you who are beginners, okay? Because the beads kind of help to create the shape. So remember those darker beads that I showed you guys in the beginning? We're going to use some of these darker silver. They're almost like hematite color, but they do have kind of a rainbow to them. And you can see I've left the bead cap on the bead and I've left the head pin. So you don't have to take this bead apart, just leave it just the way it comes off of the card. And we're going to build a little teardrop shape to hang our earring from, or to hang our bead from rather. Okay. And we're going to use 22 gauge wire to do this. So you're going to need about 8 inches of 22 gauge wire. Okay. And before you get started, you want to go ahead and take your bead off of the card. And most of these beads are already on a jump ring. So I'm just leaving that jump ring on there. If you need a jump ring though, you just grab a 6mm jump ring to put on that pre-made loop. Okay. All right. So what we're going to do is we are going to thread on some beads, and we're going to thread our jump ring with our teardrop bead onto our wire. So we're going to kind of build from the middle. Well, not necessarily from the middle out, but I do like to start with some of the bigger beads. So I'm going to take a rondelle. I'm going to thread on the jump ring with my teardrop bead. And then I'm going to put a rondelle on the other side of that. So that's going to be the center, right? And I'm going to do 2 more of the larger rondelles on either side. So we are kind of building from the center and moving outwards. So you'll have 3 of the larger rondelles on either side of your teardrop bead. And then we're going to add the smaller beads on either side. Oh, if I can get them on. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So 5 of the smallest of the rondelles. And then we just want to put 5 of the smallest rondelles on the other side as well. Just kind of hold this piece so that your beads don't slip off while you're doing this and cause frustration. You have to start completely over again. I do that all the time. So you definitely want to keep that one end in your hand so you don't lose everything as you're adding it to your wire. It's our last bead. All right, now I'm going to take the wire, and it's already wants to come together in a teardrop shape just kind of naturally. So I'm going to let it do that. Just going to bring it all the way. To take my 2 ends of the wire and bring those together to make a teardrop shape. Now you can open it up a little bit more because it is wire. So you can really kind of coax it into, if you want a slender teardrop shape, or if you want, a big fat and chunky one, you can open it up however you want to. Okay, you've got your 2 wires crossed. We're going to take one. I have one too many. Wait a minute. Let's see. 2, 3. I do have one too many. You're right. Janelda was helping me in the comments. Thank you. Thank you. So I have one too many of these large guys because this one's going to go right up there on the top. Take that off and now everything will be nice and even. That was a good catch. Thanks. I wasn't even paying attention. I would have been looking for that bead here in just a second. All right, let's start again, shall we? And again, hold on. Don't lose the beads as you're making your correction there. Thanks. All right, cool. Now we're ready to go. Now it's nice and even. All right. So I have the 2 wires, they're crossing each other. I'm going to take the one that's in the front and I'm just going to like bend it to the back. Okay. And then the other one, I'm going to bend it straight up and down. So there's not a whole lot that you got to do there. And then you can kind of let go, right? You don't have to do anything super spectacular. There's no magic move there. Just bend that one wire that's in the front to the back and it will hook over this one wire, right? And then you can kind of let go. Now you can, again, just kind of tease it into the shape that you want. If you want kind of a bigger teardrop or a more thinner teardrop, gosh, words are hard now. All right. But I do want them to match. I want them to be, I want them to be pretty close to the same shape. All right. Once you've got that, hold all those beads in your hand. Okay. Hold on to them like that. And then you're just going to take this long wire, the one that's coming to the back, and you're going to wrap it around. Now you can do like a wrapped loop here and do your wraps upwards. I'm going to wrap my wires kind of outwards and make like a little platform with my wire. So I'm kind of just building outwards to make like a little spiral, right? So almost makes like almost like a spacer bead would if you had dropped a spacer bead down on the top of that. So I'm just going to wrap that around a couple of times just like that. So I've made a little platform for this rondelle bead to sit on. I'm going to come in with my cutter tool and trim off the excess wire that I don't need. Right. And we've secured our teardrop shape. We're going to take our last rondelle and just drop that right down. Okay. Now we're going to do a wrapped loop and add our ear wire, and this one's done, right? Easy, super easy. The only part that can be a little tricky is just kind of holding everything together and creating that shape, but really the beads kind of do the hard part for you. So grabbing the wire right where it is exiting our top bead here, I'm going to bend the wire. I'm going to come in with my round nose pliers. I'm going up and over the top barrel of the pliers, rotate, take the wire over to the other side. I'm going to switch hands, and then I'm going to wrap in the space between the loop we just made and the top of our bead. I had room for about 4 wire wraps, and I'm going to come in with my cutter tool, trim off the rest. The only thing left to do to this is just add the ear wire. So I'm going to do that. And that's it. We've got 5 pairs, guys. We put together 5 pairs of earrings in about 40 minutes. Didn't even take us a full hour. I'm going to turn you guys around here in just a second and show you what they all look like hanging, because they do look a little bit different hanging than they do laying flat here. But let's just take a quick look at what we've got. So we've got a darker pair here, right, with our blue teardrop. So for somebody who maybe likes the darker metals, this is a good choice. And you can always switch up if you don't want to use the silver wire with the hematite color that's on the bead cap of this bead. Buy hematite colored wire, right? Get that dark kind of gunmetal gray for your wire, and then all of that part would be kind of seamless, right? So there are those, our little teardrop hoops. We've got our large sparkly hoops. These are fantastic, right? So that was our 4th pair. We had these just simple, either messy or clean with the wire wraps. Just simple little drops. We had drops with a wire spiral going around. And of course, these can be altered, right? If this is too long of an earring, you can take some of those rondelles off. Maybe do just 2 rondelles or 3, or maybe just 1, totally up to you. The technique is going to be the same. You're just going to use a little less wire. And then to the very first pair that we made, which are this is a classic style, right? With our eye pins, our bicones, and our teardrop bead. And again, you could just do 1 of the bicones if it was too long, or you could just do the teardrops and add an ear wire to them, right? So we have 5 pairs of earrings. We used up 1 of these cards that has all the teardrops, and we've made either 5 gifts, 5 earrings for ourselves, 5 pairs of earrings to add to your website or to your booth. You know, you don't have to use tons of technique to put together really beautiful designs, right? All right, I'm going to turn you around and we're going to take a look at them. I won't try them all on, but I will hold them all up so that you can see. Kind of helps to see, like, in comparison to a head and an ear, you know, how everything kind of looks. So our first pair, let me take these off so they don't distract. from everything, but so our first pair were these, right? Really pretty, kind of simple, right? But still really sparkly and beautiful. Those are going to pair really well with just about any other jewelry. And anything that I've done here in silver, you absolutely can do in gold. You can do it in copper. You can do it in whatever color metals that you want to. I was just kind of feeling winter with the white, or with the clear and the blue rather. So there's that. The next pair that we made were these. A little bit more flashy, I guess, right? With the extra rondelles in there. Super pretty. All right, the next pair was just the ones with the wire wrap at the top. Simple, but really, really pretty, and show off that wire work. You know, if you like the chunky, kind of messy, or if you like it nice and clean, either one of those is great. And then these are fabulous. These are a lot of fun. Definitely a party jewelry right here. Love that. And then last but not least are the darker ones that we made. And again, this can be altered. You can make the teardrop a little bit smaller. You don't have to make it nearly as big. And a really cool thing about earrings is if you're making an earring and you've decided, oh, okay, that earring is a little bit big, put it on a piece of chain and make it a pendant, right? That can always be an option. Most earrings can double as a pendant at any point. Just put a jump ring on them, thread them on a really beautiful piece of chain or a piece of leather, or, you know, your favorite ribbon, and you've got an instant necklace. So if you ever lose an earring, that's funny. My mom and my aunt were here just a little while ago, and we were talking about single earrings. If you've got single earrings that you've made, turn them into a necklace, right? And then you have even more. So instead of having 5 pairs of earrings, we've made 10 pendants, right? So it just kind of depends on perspective, how you're looking at it. But thank you so much, everybody, for joining me. I don't know if I missed any questions. Let me know if I did, but otherwise, you guys, thank you so much for joining. I hope you've enjoyed this class. I hope that I have inspired you, and I hope that I maybe taught you something that you didn't know. That knotted head pin is a great technique. So if you need to see it again, you can always come back and watch. These videos go onto the Michael's YouTube channel in about 24 to 48 hours. If you want to come back and watch, you can. In the meantime, though, I look forward to having another class with you guys and teaching you something fun again real soon. Okay. All right, guys. Thank you. Have a great afternoon. Bye.